Hello, and welcome to Proper Chat, a podcast all about your favorite show, Love Island. I'm Nicole here with my other three amazing hosts to discuss this season of Love Island All Stars. We are kicking it off with episodes 17 through 23. So if you haven't watched those episodes yet, go back, watch them, and then dig into this podcast with us. Before we start, we have a great episode today. We're going to talk about some big moments. We're going to do our classic tier ranking game, and then we're going to talk about some social gossip that's happening online this week. Anyway, before we start, I want to check in with the hosts. How's everyone's week been? What's your high low from the week?
Hi everyone, I'm Brana, and this week was pretty good. It was on my birthday on Monday.
Happy birthday!
Yay! Yeah, it was fun. Had a fun weekend. Went to Vegas with my sister and a couple of friends. My sister won $175 on the penny slots, which was like so exciting. I didn't even win, but it was like I'd never seen that happen before. It was fun, and yeah, saw one of my favorite podcasters show. Heather McMahon had her comedy show on Saturday night. So yeah, it was a good week.
Hi everyone, my name's Langa. I would say my low of the week is my partner and I didn't watch the Oilers game. As I don't know if everybody knows, is that we're like the biggest Edmonton Oilers fan as per maybe 5 minutes ago. But we've been watching at least the games of 2024 and they lost, which is unfortunate because it's funny because Brano was in Vegas. They actually played the Vegas team. So that's actually funny that I'm next. But unfortunately, that means that they had a winning streak. And so they ended up being one game short of basically being part of the NHL like world record of games in a row. I think they were going to tie with someone, but obviously, unfortunately, they didn't get to. I think it was game 17. So I guess they may be tied for second.
Heartbreaking.
Aw, bummer.
It's okay. More games this weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot fun things to look forward to. My name is Gabby, and I have two highs. One of them was this weekend. I went to Sedona, and it was super fun, and I really enjoyed it. And my second high was that we got another one of our TikToks went viral.
Oh,
really like as viral as we've had it. It's 100,000 views, which
hey, we'll take it.
Good.
We'll take it.
Yeah, super exciting.
Minorly viral. We'll take it.
Yeah, semi-viral.
Yeah. My week was chill. It rained a lot this week, so kept it pretty low key, made some cookies, but I did have a lot of great friend time. I went to Brana's birthday dinner and went dancing this weekend, which was a vibe. So overall, a great weekend for me.
That actually just made me realize how much I've seen you, Nicole. I forgot about the week.
We've been hanging out a lot and dancing a lot, which is great. Love that.
And not winning trivia a lot.
I know. We did trivia night last night and we lost. But if it was about Love Island, we would have won.
It wasn't, it was pop culture, but like indie pop culture. It was like, I was like, I am pop culture, but it wasn't basic pop culture. It was like cool people pop culture.
Okay.
Next time.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right, so we are going to hop into talk about the biggest moments that happened in the last week. I think I'll kick it off with talking about, obviously, the biggest thing was Toby choosing Georgia S in the recoupling last week, and that was just so shocking. But then I also have been thinking about it. I'm like, was it as out of left field as we thought? Or
no?
We all know the producers and the editors cut things out. We don't always see the full picture. And were there conversations that we just have not been privy to? Because it made it seem they coupled up in the beginning, then they cut things off and have as if they haven't spoken a word to each other since. And then all of a sudden that day they have a conversation and he picks her. So it just felt a little too like fishy to just be like he just had this all of a sudden he just had these googly eyes for Georgia S.
Yeah,
It felt like there was like a little nudge there coming maybe from the
could
producers or
be.
something. Yeah.
Could be. I saw a clip on social that was a side by side of Toby from his first season and Toby from this
Oh.
season. And he did the same thing with Chloe,
Yeah.
left her
Yeah.
high and dry for a really long time and coupled up with girls that he was like getting to know and seeing in bed, and obviously not a friendship couple. And then all of a sudden I saw the clip back to back too, and it was the same thing. He basically pulled some people aside and said, but I keep feeling like I'm gravitating back towards Chloe. I feel like I'm gravitating back towards Georgia. It could be that they're not playing it up as much in the show for the drama effect. It could also be that he like loves to repeat this pattern of she's the one for me, and then oops, now that I've had a little fun time, I
Yeah.
make the big realization and I'm
Mhm.
back to her. That could
Yeah.
be a potential there too.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I think he got bored of Georgia and was like, at the beginning, he thought things were going way too fast and
Mhm.
wanted to explore more connections. And the moment that he realized like, oh shoot, I don't really like Arabella that much. He probably did start like flirting with Georgia and started seeing where things went. But also during that conversation when Georgia mentions that she will always have a spot for him in her heart, except for when she's married. But
Yeah.
I felt like that was really deep. If someone
Uh-huh.
tells you that they will always have a spot for you in their heart, that's
Mhm.
pretty intense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to take that and then take 5-10 minutes later, maybe, or no, actually, it's at the end of the day, the recoupling happens. I feel like it's not that crazy. He was already thinking of it. And the producers totally had a say in that. I think they were probably like pushing him forward to do that because they've already gotten the clip. They already know exactly what
Right.
conversation they had. And
Mhm.
they know that him and Arabella weren't that close.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of shocked about Arabella being so blindsided by that.
Hmm.
That's
I think maybe her reaction was less about, oh, we were actually genuinely having a connection, and more
Mhm.
about a very public like rejection in front of
Yeah.
everybody. And
Yeah.
and I would probably have that reaction too. Like
me too.
I think her feelings are totally justified, but I think you're right. Maybe she was like reading it a little too deep, the way that she was
No,
describing it to the group. But
Yeah.
I
okay,
think
yeah.
I think her reactions made so much sense. When she's standing there and is being rejected at the beginning, she's thinking that he's talking about her and all that. How painful was that to watch him choose her, Georgia? It was really painful. I felt for Arabella. At
Yeah.
that moment, I was like, shoot, that really sucks because at the beginning, she thought she was going to get picked. I'm talking about later when they're discussing about it, and she's talking about how like how she thought that they were like really close and all that. It's like discussions that happen way later where she's
Yeah.
talking with Georgia. I felt like that was like, wow, really? Was she really that far along with Toby? Did Toby misguide her that
Mm.
much where she thought she was further along with him?
Yeah,
That's
I
kind
thought
of what was surprising to me.
yeah, I thought she had even to herself already established that this is like a physical connection, but not anything
Yeah,
long
Yeah.
term. So yeah, I
Yeah.
totally get what you're
exactly.
saying.
And maybe she just like also just felt used too.
Yeah.
Even yeah, just like how embarrassing to just even
Yeah.
feel like he was still like having his cake and eating it too with her
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
they weren't just a friendship couple. They were still like
Mhm.
being affectionate and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also,
But
I
That
think
was Mhm.
sorry, Gabby. I was gonna say, I think the betrayal for me is if they have a friendship, I think that's even worse because it's as a friend, wouldn't you tell your friend being like,
Yeah.
hey, I know we're just friends, friendship couple, maybe care about my feelings more than like your fleeting feelings for someone else. It's maybe you could have told me and been like, just to give me a heads up so I don't look like an
Totally.
idiot. And I won't tell anyone, but again, she'd just be like, thank you for letting me know there's nothing I can do really. But I just feel like that would have probably been nice again, because I feel like they also were like, they've done bits in the villa, whatever that means, because I think that also came up in one of the games. So I think for her being like, so what was the point of you wanting to do the things that whatever they did, or like the way they got to know each other? I think it's valid for her to be like, but what was the point? But again, it is still hurtful that if the point was just passing the time, I think that's what makes it even more painful.
Yeah.
That's why I think a lot of the people have ended up, even when they have discussions about Georgia and Toby's sudden attention for Toby, they're not buying it. They're like, Toby's just interested now. Who knows where he's going to be distracted?
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I think no, and then the thing is, people are just like, yes, I hope it's worth it for Georgia to just throw something that was meaningful, because Callum's, I'm not waiting around for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gosh. And I was thinking about how funny it was last episode on the podcast when we were talking about Toby. We're like, oh, he hasn't had much screen time. He's just
I
been
know.
chilling.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this
Uh-huh.
week.
Yeah, I'm
They hurt
definitely not
us.
shocked. I'm definitely not shocked by the Toby and Georgia thing, because then I think in my mind I was like, I knew that like 4 situation was going to be like muddled in some way, and I was like, I wouldn't be shocked if it was Toby. But also I think I'm very just curious also, we'll do the couple, talking about the couples later, but I just think I was just like, something about that was just too comfortable. So I was like, I feel like I knew something was gonna like implode.
Things
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my
Or
only
explode.
confusion, yeah, I think my only confusion was with that little part, thinking like, oh my gosh, like Toby must have like really misled her for her to feel so different than what Toby felt. Like it felt like Toby was like way out here, and then she was like talking about how close they were. That was my only moment of what? That's so confusing.
Mm-hmm.
But I also understand Arabella feeling a little bit upset with Georgia, because even though Georgia says that she had nothing to do with that picking, obviously later we noticed that she did play a little bit into that. Like you said, Brana, there's probably like stuff that went off, like off scenes, like looks can go a long way, like flirtiness and all that stuff. I think Georgia played a bigger role in Toby picking her than she wants to admit.
Yeah. And
So
even if you think of her tone, how
painful.
she discussed, how she spoke with Toby and Callum, let's just say, like for Callum, she was constantly in like defensive mode. There was never a time that she actually was like, you know what, I know that this is terrible for you. She didn't consider his feelings once. She never said, I know this is crazy and I'm so sorry you feel this way. She was just like constantly being like, oh my gosh, Callum, whatever. But then to Toby, I feel like she was just more, she was like, as much as like he's the reason why she's in this situation, I feel like she was much kinder to him, instead of being like, hey Toby, what the hell, you ruined something good. She was giving him like a very easy,
And then of defending him to other people too. People were like, she was like, imagine how hard it would have been to you say your feelings like that. So I have to take that into consideration. And she did not once say, imagine how hard it would have been to be Callum sitting there dealing with all this drama. I think we saw really early on who she chose. Like she made it seem like it was a hard decision, but it was not.
No. Yeah, she just kept, I'm so confused. If I had $1 for every time she said she was confused in these last few episodes.
I just think either Chloe or Sally, if you listen to our podcast, please let us know, what is it about Toby that has you all riding or dying for this man? What is it? It's like, I do not understand. Please send us a message. We're dying to know.
Even the girls, even the bombshells that come in and kiss him, I'm like, why? But why? The man is not that cute. He's not that
Yeah. Guys, that video that I reposted.
Oh, that's with the dancing. That's
oh
hilarious.
my God. Someone on TikTok posted an old video of Toby dancing, those cringy old TikTok dances.
Yeah.
And it was like a Willow Smith alternative kind of song.
Oh my God.
It was everybody knows that song. And it was so bad and cringy. And I just sat there thinking like, oh my God, I can't unsee this.
What do these women see in this man? We will never know.
Oh man,
so
poor Toby. We're like bashing him.
Tell us more about whatever this history is.
Yeah. What about the PDAs? Should we talk about that situation?
Yes.
I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
I'm glad as much as the season is short, I do love that they brought me movie night, because I do think movie night is a very, like, as much as like we're not doing Casa Amor, movie night's really important just as a great component to keep on the show. And I'm glad they called it the PDAs. Doesn't really matter. It's still the same thing.
Oh, movie.
But
Yeah.
I saw movie night. But I did think in this way, it was like more different, because obviously this time you didn't get to just choose the one clip. They basically said, okay, the nominations are. So I think that's what made it a little bit more spicy, because you know what, even if you didn't win, they exposed 3 or 4 people. It's like, so I think was a little bit more like more interesting to see more clips versus just like
Totally.
the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was funny okay, so there's 3 main moments that we jot down as some of those big moments in the PDAs, which, first of all, why was it named PDAs? I know that it's a play on the GMAs, but
I don't know.
I still thought, like, how is it PDA?
we need
That
to
was
go
my
in
biggest
there and help
Or
them
maybe the play
workshop
on like
that.
the VMAs. I don't know.
VMAs.
But again,
Oh, okay,
well,
that
maybe
makes more
not. It
sense.
might not even be that. So don't worry.
Who knows?
Actually, that makes more sense. But yeah, the 3 main parts was 1, Georgia's sneaky moment, which I thought was interesting. We've already seen it. It was Tom and her in the terrace being sneaky. Molly was super pissed about that. She was like really pissed about having seen that. But come on, like the day that he comes in, he can't have a little chat with a girl he used to be part of. He shut it down like immediately. And then, hey, what do you think?
Say more.
Who said,
I don't think he shut it down. I think but initially when she was doing that talking thing, he didn't do a lot of talking, but he didn't do a lot of shutting down, because
He
each
just
time
sat there.
but he gave her like eye contact and smiled and giggled. And I feel like that is a little bit of encouragement. He didn't say anything, but I do feel like but also when they played that truth or dare card game, that was the thing they did. He fully participated in that. But obviously he
I
wasn't
loved
as
it.
hot, but I don't think he came in as hot as Georgia did. But I
Yeah.
do think that Molly being like, why were you playing separate games from the rest of us? Because that gives it the wrong, that gives like the wrong message.
Yeah.
And so I know he wasn't saying I like you more, but she was like, why were you asking in the first place? Like, why were you playing these games? But also she was also mad, being like, fine, you play these games. You had a chance to tell me, hey, actually, maybe I did play along in the beginning, but I actually do like you. And I think Molly was saying like, you could have told me then and I would have been fine, but you just was withheld, and now I'm seeing this stuff for the first time.
Yeah.
But it's like day 1 and day 2, not even day 3.
But
It's
knowing that
like
things
he
come out.
came.
But yeah. And the way he told her about it, he told about it to her when all of the stuff started coming out. And he told her, oh, we pulled each other for chats and we talked as friends. He didn't clarify like, oh, she was really like flirtatious to me and I didn't shut it down. Like he didn't say that. So seeing the clip, I can totally get why she was upset, because man, him in the eye contact, you can't like, that is his way of flirting. So you can
Yeah, that's true. And can you imagine watching that and being like, oh, you do eye contact with me.
to me, that's how you stare at me.
Yeah, I totally get that. And then the next part of the PDA is Toby and Georgia, their special recognition. So that was the part when she says, how can Callum compete with our history Tobes? Yeah, I felt like that was like, we've already seen it. Obviously, it almost feels like all these things we just saw. I don't know if that's how you guys felt. It felt like it had just happened 2 episodes ago.
Because it did.
I guess they wanted to, but I guess they wanted to show the group.
Sometimes I wish that we could see juicy things we haven't seen before in these clips. Like it's like stuff we have not seen before that they've held on to, and then they reveal
the real unseen bits.
The good unseen bits,
stuff.
not the stuff that we skip.
Not like someone shaving each other's armpits. We don't care about that.
Ew,
Show us the real stuff. Exactly.
And then the last part was Molly after Georgia. They have this back and forth moment where she's talking about how no one understands her, how she has had history with Toby and no one can understand. And then Molly's like, I literally was in a 3-year relationship living with Cal, and I stepped away. And she
Mhm.
stormed out and
Mhm.
cried. And I thought that was, I don't know, that was like a really intense moment
Yeah.
after the whole freaking show. And then she has a very intense cry afterwards. Like, I feel bad because a lot of people online, they're like, ooh, we don't want to see them together. And part of me is, does one of them lean a certain way? Like, would Molly go back with Callum if he would have shown more interest? I think
Mm.
so. Yeah. Like, she feels hurt. I feel like that was like one of
Yeah.
the biggest indicators, like, oh my gosh, like I stepped to the side. Like I
Yeah.
let him
Mm.
talk to you.
I
I
don't think
let
the
Yeah.
ship
him
has sailed.
no. I
Yeah.
think they're gonna get back together after the show.
Because I don't
Not gonna lie.
see, no, I'm not gonna lie, I also don't know Molly and Tom. I just can't see it. I feel like
Me neither.
I feel like his personality, like the most we see of his personality is when he's like talking to Casey. Like
Mm.
other than that,
That's
I feel
really
like
the winners.
I feel like all he's ever telling, or anytime he's talking to Molly, is either he's defending herself, or I feel like telling her what she wants to hear
Mhm.
based on his feelings. But I just feel like, you remember how like he was like Lucia, like when he was with Sammy. I just feel
Yeah.
like it's just, and again, maybe Molly's at a point where she's just this, we're not going to be here any longer. Let me just see how far like me and Tom can
Yeah.
take, because again, we are firm favorites. Because
Yeah.
I feel, and again, Callum is now free-ish, and I feel, and also just being like, maybe his test has gone, and then maybe who knows. I just
Yeah.
feel like I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think it's passed for them.
Mhm.
Interesting. I haven't totally picked up on that yet. And I actually like am rooting for Molly and Tom right now. So
Oh.
maybe will be corrected later on in the series as
Or
it
you're
goes on.
correct.
Or I'm correct. I
Or
think
you could be correct.
yeah, I think when I saw the most recent recoupling with Tom and the speech that he gave to Molly, and then
Mhm.
everyone was talking about how Callum was looking at Tom like smiling at him and like genuinely happy for
Mm.
Molly and their
Yeah.
connection. And that to me just shows, and I think it aligns with what Molly was saying earlier. Like, we had so much time and respect and love for each other. 3 years is
Yes.
a long time. Why do you treat that like it's nothing? I think that's a
Mhm.
valid thing to say. I don't know if she's saying it because she still has feelings for Callum. I think it's
Yeah.
just there's obviously some genuine love and respect for
Yeah.
each other. That's
They did have that conversation as friends. Remember, they
Yeah.
did have a proper, hey, do you imagine we would be friends? Again, maybe that's their thing. Because again, like, why go backwards, and you don't want to circle the block twice. But if they do, that's fine as well.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about that moment. Brana, what were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, I was just thinking too. I felt like a part of Molly's intense emotions after that conversation, I feel like even 1% of it could have also been she had just a few days before that had that big blowout too with Georgia S. So she's still not happy with the girl.
Yeah.
So it's also one of those things when like when someone who's pissed you off says another thing that pissed you off that actually is affecting you again, you're just like
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm
she
over
that
it.
was like another nail in the
Yeah.
coffin where she just this girl.
Yeah.
know.
And
Yeah.
she got
Totally.
protective on Callum, because she did say at least like respect the guy. So I think for
Yeah.
her being like, Georgia, like, I know, and also maybe also she could just be, I don't know, like maybe somewhat frustrated, and maybe like Georgia being like the main girl, everyone's always worried about her emotions. And it's also
Mhm.
just being like, girl, when are you gonna worry about what your, like, everyone's emotions are at like
Yeah.
because of you. It's like, when
Yeah.
are you gonna
Yeah.
take responsibility for one of the reasons why many people are upset right now?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. That moment was, now after talking about it, I feel like that moment was more about what Georgia said about
Mhm.
her and her relationship, a little less on what her feelings were towards Cal, even though I do
Mhm.
think that in the future they will get back together. I hold on to that. But maybe this is a good chance. Personally, I don't see Tom and Molly it working out. But I also struggle seeing more of Molly to
Yeah.
begin with. But I
Yeah.
think she does struggle like finding the depth in conversations, and maybe we just don't get a glimpse of that.
Yeah.
And Tom's
Yeah.
not the one who's gonna be pulling out the depth out of her because he just wants to
Yeah.
sit there and look pretty.
100%, which is
Yeah.
why I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
But my moment of that, we discussed it in my household hectically,
I'm
was
excited.
just the relationship between Georgia H
Mhm.
and Anton. It's obviously the fact is like Anton is like Georgia since like day one. Like he's been like you,
Yeah.
yes, even like snog, marry, pie, yes, like throughout. And he was like, I can be your friend zone, me, I can creep out of the friend zone, anything. And then obviously she's had like moments of yes, no, mostly no, yes, I'll try. Georgia H. Thank you, Gabby. Yeah, so basically,
Yeah, Anton says Georgia H.
yeah, H. Yes,
The
I think my brain, maybe I think my brain also says like H. Yeah, so I think for me is like with Georgia, it's very Georgia H is that I think for her it's very confusing. Like, I feel like she can like Anton because again, like I think because and she's tried to friend zone him and he's, you know what, I'll be whatever you need me to be, until you're ready for us to be more. But I think with her, we went through so many people she tried out. She even tried out like Mitch before he left. So I feel like that being a thing, it's like being like Anton, no, like she even wanted to be with Messy Mitch. And then obviously now she's gotten to know him. And I guess she's, I don't know, like maybe is she's convinced herself she likes him. But I think my downfall is for Georgia, I think I would prefer if she was like a little bit honest, like, you know, and she was like, I find you so sexy. I'm like, you didn't find him sexy. How did this turn up? Because I feel like you can like someone from the like inside. Like I feel like maybe you can be like, I've gotten to know you. I'm more attracted to you. I'm more like sexually attracted to you just based on getting to know you. But I don't like the fact of her going like when she does the speeches being like, you're the sexy man. It's like, when did we get here?
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think Georgia H actually likes Anton?
Like more than a friend?
As more than a friend.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's at like a 2.
Yeah.
I was gonna be
Like,
generous and give her a 5 out of 10, but that's
I was
I'm
gonna
being
say
generous.
maybe a 3, just because she likes that he likes her.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what she likes.
And I
she
think
likes that he likes her
and does all her
spirituality.
meditation stuff because Casey was like upset about the
Casey's
grandfather.
not dealing with that.
That was hilarious, by the way. That scene made me die laughing. Like the whole grandma, like, oh God. One of the most
man, that
iconic
was so
scenes,
good.
not gonna lie.
Yes. Well, which also like good for Casey for bringing that up, because honestly, that you're giving this is information that you don't typically get from men after you start dating them. It's like, what made you stop liking me? He was freaking honest. He said all the spirituality craziness that she's doing is too crazy for him.
Yeah.
But
He's
also,
like, I don't want to
guy
know.
that likes that.
Yeah.
But also
And
it
it
turns
was
out
such
that
a-
he also didn't ghost her, which I'm like, stop saying he ghosted you,
Yeah.
which I
Right.
think
That
that
was
was
his
another
defense.
thing. Yeah, it was like, I didn't ghost you. I just said we shouldn't talk for. And she just was like, you should drink when they played the game. It's girl, no.
They both agreed that they weren't going to talk, and then she reached out again, and because they both agreed, he decided not to respond. That's not ghosting, girl.
That's not.
And he was like, ghosting, you're talking to my grandfather. You're not like enough.
Speaking of ghosts.
Speaking of ghosts.
Seriously,
Exactly.
oh my God, that scene is so good.
That's so funny.
Yeah, Georgia's just so interesting because I just feel like, again, do I think maybe the slow burner now, who knows like what we miss? I'm like, I think maybe she could like him because obviously the bad boys she's liked in the past haven't worked out, and maybe like Anton, but I feel like obviously Anton is such a nice guy that I guess he shouldn't want to settle with someone who just like settles for him. But I do also think in the other 50%, I also do think that maybe, unfortunately, Georgia might have very toxic dating habits, and maybe it has taken the time where she's just assuming, just based on the men we've seen her chase in the villa, and also her being like, what would it be like if I actually just didn't go for the same guy that I always go for? And I think obviously it took her some time because, again, we're all watching Love Island and people tend to go each other for looks. But I do think that maybe she does like Anton, but I also am just like, she should also just be very honest on that as well.
Yeah. I think she likes the idea of Anton, but is not attracted to him. And I think if you have initial attraction right away and then you slowly start to learn more about each other, then that's only going to grow. But
Mhm.
because the initial attraction wasn't there in the beginning, I don't know if they can grow
Yeah.
into it. I think she can grow into liking the idea of him. But
Yeah.
I don't know. He deserves someone who's
All about him.
I fucking love you, Anton.
Mhm.
You're so hot, and like actually genuinely means it, and not because
Like-
he's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
Also, he's like a good looking guy. It's not like he's not.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen or we might have witnessed people talk about, I can think of a few relationships with people I were like, oh, I didn't pay attention to him at first. Like he was,
Mhm.
I know like a couple of friends that I can think of even here in this area, like where they were like, the guys are pushing and pushing, like really flirty and wanting to date the girl. And then the girls are like, I didn't like him at first, but then later,
Mhm.
like he's kept at it. And then I started liking him. But I feel like with the Georgia situation, like I agree with everyone. It just feels like a friendship is being pushed to being a romantic relationship. And it's so clear because when everyone picks in the recoupling who they're going to couple up with, they kiss them right away. And she never kisses him.
Mm.
She gives him this like weird side hug and or like hug that just makes me feel so uncomfortable
Same.
because it feels, oh
Forced.
man, this is poor guy, like poor Anton, like he's pouring
Yeah.
his heart out and she's
It's like she has to like mentally prepare for like their
"Aw."
physical interactions.
She's like getting
to the-
ready.
To the point where she's, hold on, I need a little bit of time. Can you add the breath spray before we-"
Yes, yes, yes. I think that's the thing. I think she just like anytime he's trying to be spontaneous, she's no, that's not part of the script. No, agree.
Yeah.
She's like, pause. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think. I think that it doesn't show that it's coming natural. And I do feel like with that love in general, attraction is really important at the start,
Mhm.
Nicole, you were
Mhm.
saying. And it's not natural. I don't know. Could it grow into something? Yes. And there's plenty of relationships, but I just wish that someone came in for her and was like, oh, I really have liked you.
Mhm.
But I don't think that's gonna happen. So
Yeah.
we'll see, I guess, how they play out.
Before we move on, I will say I saw a clip of Mel, our girl who we love. She did one of those TikToks that was like, I'm Mel. Of course, I'm like the most chaotic dancer on Love Island. But she said, I'm Mel. Of course, I would go for Anton in the villa. And I was like, oh my God, send her in.
Send her in.
Yeah.
Send her
We ship it.
We ship. I was shipping it so
Mel,
hard,
come
and
back.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
rooting for. So hopefully, if
I
the
mean, hey.
universe is on their side, that would be really
Mhm.
great.
Okay, now it's time for the tier ranking game where we rank our favorite Islanders in the categories we think they fit in. Are they here for love? Will they find followers and clout? Are they stuck in Friendship Island? Why are they here? And move the Islanders that have left the island to left the island.
Mhm.
Where do we start? We can start with the Islanders who have left the island. Kaz,
I
right?
hate to
She's
see
the only one.
it.
How did you guys feel about her leaving? I know I have some thoughts here.
Not good.
Yeah, I love this girl. I think she deserves the world. I think I had two reactions to her leaving. Oh, damn, they really didn't give her a shot in the villa. No one sent her in someone for her.
Besides Tyler.
Besides Tyler, who was for a second. And the second reaction I had was, you know what? Maybe she's too mature for the villa. Maybe she's grown up and is above this drama and knows what she's looking for, and the villa can't offer that to her. So
Yeah, because
those were the two feelings I was having. Good for
Mhm.
her for not just cracking on with a bunch of hot guys and knowing who she likes, but also disappointed in the show for not helping her out and giving her
Yeah.
actual prospects.
She did give the Casey thing a chance for 5 minutes, which I
Yeah.
was I really was into that until she was like, maybe not, 'cause Casey.
No, I think she felt like Casey. My thoughts was that she felt like Casey was just a friend, and she felt like he might have coupled up with her because it was like the easier way to stay in. I don't know. I feel like she felt that. It
But
almost felt like yeah, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
think
go
in her
ahead, Linda.
interview with Maya, she said that as much as Casey showed interest, she did say that he only kissed her in a challenge. And she said that obviously maybe the indicator for her, maybe they would have shown an additional interest outside of a challenge would have been kissing her outside. And I think maybe that was an indicator for her. Because again, obviously in the Love Island, there's also various things you do on that show that are very, I don't know, they play, it's like up on the terrace, someone's making out. So I think for her, she was like, that's an indicator. But also, no one was sent for her. I really don't think anyone was, because again, I feel like guys, like as much as like Toby, he's mixed race, and I think I heard that Lewis is mixed race as well, and they also have a
Definitely.
dating history that tend to not actually date Black women. So I think that's like unfortunate. Like even with the producers even seeing fine, they put Black guys or and being like, oh, but like they date, and also mixed race guys, and knowing that their history isn't really something that's they're interested is wouldn't their love interest wouldn't be Kaz. I also think that's not great.
Yeah, and
Totally.
I was
and it
gonna say
was
one of the girls, sorry, Nicole, that follows us, she said she did comment on our post. I mentioned this earlier, but she said only 2 Black people out of 19. Yikes.
Totally.
And I felt like it wasn't just that, like there was every single person that has come in has said, even Casey, that their background or the people that they typically are blondes, they bring in 2 blonde girls, they bring in another blonde guy, fake blonde, but he's still blonde. And it's just, I don't know, it just felt like everyone that's coming in is looking the same.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure
Totally.
if there's like much to pick from right now.
Yeah.
Besides personalities, I don't want that to get taken the wrong way, but
Yeah.
I just feel like it's one type of
Person.
vibe.
Yeah, I agree,
Yeah.
because I think, because if you look at the people who have come in, some people have been like main character people from this season, but I also think some people were like bombshells from like Casa Amor. So I was like, if we're gonna do that and bringing in Molly, she was a Casa Amor, but obviously ended up being with Callum, fine. But I feel like bringing in the girl who just come in, like Joanna, she was a Casa Amor / like leaving was like, but I also am like, why couldn't they bring someone who was Kaz's type, like I'm not saying she's only into Black men, but whatever she's a type, why couldn't they have brought in a one Casa Amor guy? I don't understand like why they couldn't have just been like, hey, here's the, because maybe unfortunately Ovi isn't coming back, but like, how about we try one more time with somebody that's like her type, and at least ship it. But then they, oh, okay, we're not going to do that anymore because we just got the drama. What we just did like the exes thing, and now we're just going to wait for her to float out until she's no longer like part of the contestants. Because basically it's who's left, like Sophie, but isn't Sophie mixed race as well? So it's all this, does Love Island just want you to be Black only when you're mixed race, but when you're just Black, they're like, no.
Yeah, and it's not like they didn't have the options. There were so many other amazing cast members that they could pick from. It's just, yeah, I agree. It's disappointing that this is the first All Stars and this is the way that they decided to play things.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I was really disappointed, especially because Kaz feels like everyone really likes her, and it's almost like everybody was like waiting for someone to come for her because they wanted to have her around. And we've seen this happen in other seasons where everyone like just loves these people and they want to keep them around. But for Kaz, it almost felt like Toby was crying, and so was Chris. Like she has like really strong relationships with these
even
people.
Callum was like, I'm gonna miss you. Like everyone was like, you know, you brought even Georgia H, like Kaz like helped so many of them out, talk through their feelings, and the show couldn't at least bring her one person.
I know.
Like she held like emotions on her back, like on her shoulders. Like, is that like the sole purpose of her? Like she helped so many people, especially tell the truth. She was always saying, go tell them that's how you feel. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
She gave really good advice.
Yes.
And back to Nicole's point, she
Just not
did
to
come off
Liberty.
very mature. I think, not to Liberty. Yeah, that's right. But she did come off very mature and put together. And yeah, there's just not the right person came in for her, which is unfortunate.
Mhm.
So two people that we've already talked about, Molly and Tom, we brought up a few points earlier today that Tom might be, that they might not be here for each other, or I know Nicole is really, you're thinking that they are here to find love and that they're going to leave here. These are your type of couple. Do we still want to keep them in We'll Find Love, or what do you guys think?
If not with each other, then with their someone else in the villa, I think. I think I'm happy to leave them there just because I like them as a couple. But if they don't stay together as a couple, I think they're here for love.
But what
I
about
actually
Callum?
think Tom is here for clout. I think that he's here for clout because I genuinely feel like him and I don't see the Molly and him connection, but we did see a very sweet speech that he gave. But to me, he almost feels like he's writing it out. And at this point, we have mentioned this already, but like almost she feels, oh, it's too far late in the game to recouple. I don't know. I just feel like they're here just to write it out. But let's leave them for We'll Find Love. I do think that they're like good-looking people that will likely find love.
I'm
just
with
fit
you
in
on
that
Will Fight.
space.
I'm with you on looking for clout, only because mine is also
Yeah.
based on how his, I don't know, again, maybe he didn't word himself, but it didn't bring himself the way he wanted to. But the way he basically, when Casey was like, I want to get to know Molly, he literally was like, go on, Doug.
Off you go.
Yeah, enjoy. Like he had no, I thought that scene, I was just like, wow,
Yeah.
okay, you're about to just give the girl, like he didn't, and again,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know if he was like, oh, I wanted to be cool, but also just the way he said it. He was like, you didn't even have
Yeah.
to ask me. With what?
It was just like him being like, if you were like, Brana, can I go use your bathroom?
Go,
for
go.
it.
Go for it.
It was just very, didn't think twice.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the reason why that was though, I think is because he's still like a young guy, and Georgia's mentioned this a couple times as like a little dig on him, but I think if they are to break up, it would be because Tom isn't ready necessarily to have a mature relationship and to like understand how to navigate it. You don't tell your
Totally.
bestie to crack on. Like, yeah, that's
For
a
sure.
no-brainer.
Yeah. And I think Molly wants like commitment and like to find the one.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, should we put him in clout then? Just
Yeah, move him over.
move him over. Let's do
Move
it.
him over.
All right.
Molly
We'll move
can
him
stay.
over. Molly can stay. I do feel like Molly's here for love. And like I said, I think these two are going to be together in the future, Callum and her in the future. So I'm happy with it there. What do you guys think? There's so much to say about Georgia. She really had a lot of moments this week in the villa. But would you guys think she's here to find, or will she find love here?
I don't think so anymore.
I think she has found love in her head. Has she found long-term love with Toby? No. Respectfully, no. But I think to her, she's head over heels with Toby.
For the next 5 minutes.
But I also do think that she does know that her choices risk that he's going to hurt her, because she knows it. Like she knows it. And I think, unfortunately, if that's a risk she's willing to take, good luck to her. But I feel like it's very front of mind, but I guess she's hoping for the best. Like she's hoping it's not, but also knows that there's a possibility.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot Hannah left. Let's move her down. How did you guys feel about Hannah leaving?
It was her time.
Yeah, it was her time. Same with Tyler. Toodaloo.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to Georgia. Do we keep her and We'll Find Love, or do we move her down?
Let's leave her there. Bring Toby up. They can stay in their little love bubble for however long.
I feel like Toby's still, why are you here?
I'm with
Same.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just like, what are you doing? You're just, he's just like being bored and dumb, I feel like.
And
you
just
know?
clearly like doing the same old tricks. He's okay, keeping everybody on their toes
Yeah.
and speaks like with such conviction. And you're like, okay, maybe he's speaking truth. And then you're just like, no, he's just like an F-boy and just F-boy, like just fucking around.
All
Yeah.
right, maybe bring her down with Toby because that's where they are now.
All right, that sounds good to me.
I think you can, I would also low-key put Georgia, why are you here? Because I feel like it is very confusing. As much as she can say she's here for love, I feel like, I don't know if she's also very self-aware. Because also I'm like, I understand she's, oh, I love this guy, or I like this person. I feel like she was like, oh, but I liked Toby. I didn't know about the feelings for Toby. But it's also Arabella being like, girl, you can't say your feelings didn't exist. But now when he spoke to you one moment, I feel like she doesn't even understand like her big feelings. At some point, I was trying to figure out what's her star sign. Because I feel like I'm like, maybe she's experiencing these massive, like really big feelings. And she doesn't know how to process like the different feelings she has for each person. Because I feel like with Tom, it was like, so like this. It was with Callum, it was a different way 5 minutes later, and then with Toby. So I feel like for her it's like, girl, and I know she'll be like, oh, I'm loyal, and get upset, and we believe you, but also your actions in a very short amount of time are also like contradictory to the person that you've said that you are from the moment we've seen you.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, leave her there.
Leave her there. Guys, a couple that I thought was interesting this week, Josh and Sophie.
I hate
What do
Josh.
you hate Josh?
It's just
Do you guys think Josh is just playing the game just to stay in the show?
Yes.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he looks, because also the way he switched from Joanna to Sophie made like no sense.
In 5 minutes.
Having spoken on the
seconds.
terrace, like it made no sense. I think the only reason why he chose Sophie is because he didn't want to be in another triangle. Joanna still was happily to get to know Chris. Josh didn't want to be in another triangle. Sophie is all in, even though she was like playing hard to get. Like she does the lib where I'm gonna ignore you, and then 5 seconds later she's still, okay, you're so funny. What?
Yeah.
I'm like, Sophie, I think even her, I think she is looking for the right thing, but I don't know, girl, no. And now also Kaz isn't around for her to bounce off ideas, because now it's like she has to make like big decisions on her own.
Yeah.
How do we
guys-
feel
okay,
about
so-
Joanna, where she belongs, and her stuff with Chris? What's going on there? What do you guys think? I can't suss it out.
Yeah.
I'm kind
I
of
feel like maybe she's, why are you here? We don't know.
Chris
I
still
think
in
she went
clout.
pretty safe. I think she went safe with Chris. She really wanted Josh. But Josh, it was a whole mess. Josh wanted Joanna. Joanna was like, shoot, Josh is already with Sophie. Sophie was like confused this whole time. She was like talking to other people and open the doors, close the doors, then open the doors and close the doors. It's just been very confusing. I think right now they're closed off, but I think more than anything, I'm wondering like, Josh, we're putting him here for clout. Where are we putting Sophie? Because I feel like Sophie has been a little confusing from the start as well.
Yeah, I think she still belongs in Why Are You Here, because she's not played the game in a way that shows that she wants clout, but she's not really good at committing to her feelings. And
yes, because
Yeah.
exactly, I agree. She's just very
Yeah.
confusing, and the little screen time she does get, it's very confusing. Like
Yeah.
she's upset for 5 seconds, unupset, then she's allowing the new guy to get to know her, then the next 3 minutes later she changes her mind.
yeah.
So it is very weird. But I do think Chris is an actor, and I do think he's just doing the same thing. So I think he's here for clout, because I do think he's just like playing this game, because I know he knows he can be romantic. He also plays that lost boy act. Oh my gosh, my feelings. Like when I say this, I'm such a geek. I'm such a nerd for saying this. It's just, I feel like it's just an act for me. I'm not,
100%.
because also what happened to, because I feel like for me, remember he was really interested in, we were just talking about it, she's with Josh. What's her name again?
Sophie.
Sophie. And remember, he was like, oh, I've got a massive crush on Sophie. Remember, that's what he told Arabella, massive crush. And then remember, Sophie kissed Chris, I think, in the game. And then Chris's comment was like, Sophie, that ship's long sailed. With if my crush, even if like I'm having something with someone brand new, him being like, wow, I didn't know like that kind of thing is like around. So it's Chris, I'm just like, also, I feel like you're just like big, like a showman.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
To me,
Yeah.
it's so clear. Chris is there for kids. So clear. And I feel bad for Joanna now, but also at the same time, she could have chose Josh if she was here for love, because I could tell that she was leaning towards
But also
Josh.
Joanna, she seems pretty smart. I feel like I feel like
does.
she is approaching the smart, because remember, she even was like, we'll have a conversation and be like, hey, I don't want things to kick off, but I know that things are good with Sophie and Josh, and I know that things come out in this villa. Should I tell her that early on today we did this terrorist thing? Because Ekin-Su will tell you nothing stays in, it's not a secret, and people will find out somehow, because also maybe you might tell someone 3 days later, but if it comes up, rather have it said now.
Yeah. Yeah, she's at least like honest with what's happening and what's going on, because she does know the number one rule in the villa, which is everything's going to come out, because that's what they talk about. I'm like happy to leave her and why are you here? But I also am interested to see if we'll see a different side of her when she either catches feelings actually, or when we see her kind of playing along just for the game. She might end up in clout depending on how she's going to play the rest of the season. We'll see.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Anton and Georgia H?
I think
he's here for love, but
Poor guy's
stuck in friendship bonds.
He's stuck.
He's just stuck. Yeah, I just
Poor
can't
guy.
imagine. I think, but guys, I have a feeling that they're gonna win. I don't know why. I just feel like the whole story is gonna be like, oh, we started out with friends. Wow, I never knew a life that you could provide me. And they're gonna be like, wow, Anton is this king, which he's a very respectable guy, but they're gonna create this storyline of, wow, my knight in charming armor, and they're gonna play that. And I think Georgia H, that's why she's playing into it a little bit towards what we were talking about earlier today. I think she's being a little strategic because we're so far in the game that I don't think she feels like she's gonna find anything. So at this point, I think I'm like 80% sure that they are gonna win. That's my biggest prediction.
Okay.
Yeah,
girl.
yeah.
I
just heard it here first.
Yeah.
I just think that because Anton has made such a switch, I feel like he's gotten a lot of supporters and people are really hyping him up. And then Georgia, she's playing this little thing of, wow, I've never been treated like that before. Doesn't that sound like a perfect story?
It does, but
totally.
if we're
On
picking
paper.
up, but if we're picking up that we're not seeing the chemistry, I think maybe the public might also be picking up on it too.
Yeah.
I hear you. I think it is a sweet story, and I think everyone's been rooting for Anton for a really long time. But I don't know. I'd be interested to see how if they fool the public this way, because I'm not fooled. At least it doesn't seem like it to me.
But I do feel sometimes the UK public do sometimes actually vote for their one favorite. Like, I don't think sometimes they like, because I think like Amber won her season, and I think people just enjoyed her as like a person, and then the guy she won with was like a guy she coupled up with that week.
2 weeks, yeah.
So so I think like maybe this could be the case where, like, honestly, it's also similar to when Sammy won with Jess. I feel like people who voted for Jess, because I think Jess was also just like so fun, so bubbly, great in the house, and also not like the stick thin look that they constantly have in the house. And so I think people were just like probably being like, hey, Love Island, like, we like seeing variety, we like seeing you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I get, maybe if they win, I do think maybe it would just be basis on people just loving Anton, and I guess Georgia's just the lucky person. I'm not saying they're gonna win, but I'm like, if they do, I feel like Georgia's just like just hanging on, you know what I mean, to be like, because Anton is the one carrying.
Yeah, totally.
Guys,
Those would definitely be the case.
Part of me wants to move Georgia H in Stuck in Friendship Island, because I feel like they're both going to be stuck in Friendship Island and then get to the top together.
Anton's stuck in Friendship Island and doesn't know it.
I feel like Georgia H is stuck in Friendship Island because she chose to be on Friendship Island, but she's faking some love.
Wouldn't you say that she might be doing that for the clout then? because that's where I would put her.
But the thing is,
Personally.
I felt like she came in wanting to rekindle these relationships. She was like hurt with Casey, leaving
Agreed.
her hot and dry. And she was like,
She
oh,
was with
yes, like,
Josh too.
I agree. I think she came in with the intention to actually find a partner, but now
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Anton, oh, I'm here for you, she's let me ride this out because I'm enjoying being in the villa and people's
yes,
attention.
yes.
And
Mhm.
she might switch
I feel
next
you.
week. She
Yeah.
might find another bombshell that she's into.
That's a
How-
good point, Nicole.
Mhm.
What are we thinking?
Yeah,
Clout?
you guys can decide. I'm happy to put her
Mhm.
in either.
Yeah, I'm good with her there.
Yeah. We have 4 new people, and then the last person that's been there is Arabella, who was recently chose to recouple with Joe. What do we
Yeah,
think about that couple?
I feel like she's stuck in Friendship Island.
Boom. Sad.
And then him, I feel like for him and the twins, it's like, why are you here? We don't know.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And Casey, I don't know. What do you guys think? I feel like he's here for followers and clout.
Same.
He's
I
here to hang
agree.
out with Tom.
Yeah,
He's-
exactly.
He's here to be his chummy
Yeah.
buddy and get more likes on social media and then come
Yeah.
out and have another round of girls to flirt with.
100%. Yeah.
I thought it was really funny when he was talking about picking Molly doing the PDAs. He was like, that was a mistake. And I knew it right after.
Yeah. It was so awkward.
Oh gosh, those guys.
Yeah. That wraps up our tier ranking game. Tune in, give us your comments on what you think on these couples, and we'd love to hear it on either our TikTok, our Instagram, or anywhere you can send us a message.
Okay, we've got into the social chatter, aka scoop on the streets section of our programming. I guess this is the part of the show where we discuss what we've seen online, like it's people's opinions, it's rumors. And Nicole, how about you tell us about the rumor or like this something you've heard on the streets about Joanna and Georgia?
Yeah, so this one's interesting. A lot of the Love Island fans have been following Georgia for a really long time. This is Georgia Steele, by the way. And her and Joanna were besties for a really long time. They actually posted on social together. They did a bunch of TikToks. They like
Mm.
went on vacation. And then all of a sudden, Georgia and her were stopped posting together. They even unfollowed each other for a little while. And there was all these rumors and speculations about what the reason was, but anyway, it never came out. And then Joanna comes and walks in the Love Island All-Stars villa and no mention of it. There was like a whole moment where they were like, does anyone know Joanna? And Georgia didn't say anything.
Mhm.
Anyway, I've been like watching them and seeing how they like deal with each other as the time goes on. And it
Mhm.
seems like they're like fine now. They're actually like
Mhm.
being very cordial and
Yes.
friendly to each other, but it was never addressed. There's something happening behind the scenes
Interesting.
there, some friends
Yeah.
drama. Who knows?
Mm.
I mean, I did
True.
notice that when they were talking, now that you say that, there was a time where, where George was crying and Joanna is like being like talking her through her feelings, having it like you can like they have like kind of like rapport. Because even when like Georgia was like shunned a bit, Joanna is always part of the Georgia part. Because sometimes the days like with the
Yeah.
broken off, like when everyone breaks up, I feel like Joanna tends to constantly be in whatever group Georgia's in.
Yeah, that was interesting that you mentioned that because in the beginning, though, they didn't seem like they were talking much when Joanna came in, but now
Mhm.
they are. Like maybe there was some sort of behind the scenes
Mhm.
reconciliation, and they were like, okay, we'll be here for each
Mhm.
other in the villa
Yeah.
again. Anyway, interesting.
Mhm.
But in general, we don't see much of Joanna kind of chatting with the girls, right? It almost feels like she's chatting with the new people that she came with.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think
Yeah.
it was hard at some point because obviously with the Sophie situation, when she was still talking to Josh, maybe she didn't feel as comfortable kikiing with her as like with her and Kaz, maybe knowing
Yeah.
that like she was still having chats with her man. So maybe it will change, knowing that maybe like she's chosen to be with Chris. Or
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
The only other thing, and this kind of pertains to our discussion earlier that I saw on social, I saw Deji. Do you guys remember Deji from India and Demi's season? He
mhm.
coupled up with Demi and
Mhm.
or India in the Casa Amor. Anyway, he posted and he was basically just calling out the producers. He was like, "Hey, producers of Love Island All Stars, what happened to the black people?" And then he was like,
Yeah.
"You keep sending in the blondes. Why? Why?" It was
Mhm.
anyway, it's really funny. I thought it was like, I'm
Oh.
glad that they're calling that out. And also, if he's saying that, they probably didn't hit him up. Hit up some other people.
Totally.
Come on.
Yeah, 100%. I was actually reading on The Sun, and I think the people who write for The Sun have their own podcast. I forgot what it's called now, but basically they interviewed a Love Island old cast member named Marcel. And basically they just asked him just his general thoughts of Love Island and then on the season. And he basically spoke about how he feels that Georgia Steele and Toby might have some sort of a plan to win All Stars. And then he feels like that they worked out the way to have a love stories of the series, because as Nicole said and Marcel says, this is like the way that Toby played his first season is like how he's playing now, where he like wanted to be with Chloe and then played the field and then back and then they made it to the final. So he's saying that like maybe that obviously that's just probably something that they're like reignite, like that they might be doing, because they just like we can just like ride on this history that like no one's asking for more details because they're making it so deep where everyone's like it's not that deep.
Yeah.
So I think he was just saying like maybe they're actually just like playing a game and maybe that's why they're like ride or dying for each other at this point. So it could just be because like they just were like, hey, how do we win this thing?
Interesting. Yeah, I can totally see after seeing all of the like movie night content from Georgia, like I
Mhm.
can see her playing the acting bit. And as we've seen her clips from her when she was a young actress, so she could be acting this whole entire time. I would have no clue.
Yeah.
Mhm. 100%.
She's a liar. She's an
Yeah,
actress.
I was thinking the same thing.
She's a snake. Oh my gosh. Hilarious.
Maybe she'll be on the Traitors season 3.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so funny. But yeah, but he also did, along with that conversation, also spoke about Kaz leaving. So he
Mhm.
also said, very basically saying, obviously the producers didn't really set Kaz up for success. And I think that's what he was just saying. It's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. But hopefully this isn't really the standard of, knowing that, again, hate to bring him up again, that the likes of Ovion coming back, it just would be nice if they were somehow like getting all stars in different ways, because I feel like because they've done pick from Casa Amor before, I think let's at least like pick someone from Casa Amor for Kaz.
Totally.
Or would it be maybe that like they only just started being diverse on Love Island, that maybe like a lot, it also just shows that maybe like it wasn't as diverse from the jump, that like picking people to do all stars also just shows how much they weren't really
But
putting black people, I
well,
guess.
I agree with that. There's less of a pool to pick from, but
Yeah.
if you're gonna pick from literally last season and pick Mitch out of the whole crew from last season, we can decide on better options here.
Yes.
They can work a bit harder.
Anything else anybody's been reading on the streets? Gabby?
Yeah, out on the streets, out on TikTok. I just saw a video today of Sammy, as in, oh man, what's his
Jess and
ex?
Sammy?
Jess and Sammy.
Jess and Sammy.
Oh, wow.
Is that released? He just posted a TikTok earlier today, wheeling around in the airport, and he said, "Can't wait to get to South Africa. Heard South Africa is nice this time of year."
What?
Is he trolling us or is he back?
Out.
Is he?
You
I
already won
don't
the
know.
money.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Okay, greedy.
Yeah, you guys, I
Damn.
reposted it on
Wow.
TikTok. I was shooked, but I
Wow.
totally forgot about that. We'll
Oh
see.
my God.
We'll see.
Oh.
That would be,
I thought
Yeah.
that
from
would
the
be
notes
crazy.
you were talking about Tom Sammy, but then I was gonna say no, Claudia says Sammy as a new boyfriend. Sorry, that's what I thought your notes said, but like now
No.
to know you meant either Sammy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll see.
All right. We'll see.
We will
Wow.
see.
Okay, that wraps up this section. Thank you, everybody, for reading the internet and giving us the scoop on the street. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on Proper Chat. We'll be back next Friday to recap the next several episodes of Love Island All Stars. Make sure to follow us at Proper Chat Pod on both Instagram and TikTok, and let us know what content you are enjoying from us. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube so you don't miss any of our future episodes. Your rating really matters to us, and it keeps us excited to keep making content. Until next time, stay proper and stay chatting.